Hey y'all, today we're stepping into a space that's near and dear to my heart, and probably yours too, if you're tuning in, the chicken coop. Now we put so much love into making our homes beautiful and comfortable, and our sweet feathered friends deserve that same care. A happy hen is a healthy hen, and a healthy hen lays those beautiful fresh eggs we all adore. But there's one thing that can turn a cozy coop into a real problem spot, and that's something we often overlook: fresh air. It's more than just opening a window, it's about creating a system that works for your flock, day in and day out. Moisture, mold, frostbite and stinky air. Welcome to the unventilated coop. If your chickens are coughing or your eyes water when you walk in, we need to talk. It's a serious thing, y'all. That heavy, damp air can lead to so many issues for your flock. From respiratory problems that make them feel poorly, to frostbite on their little combs and toes in the winter. And let's be honest, nobody wants to walk into a coop that smells like an ammonia factory. It's not pleasant for us, and it's certainly not healthy for our chickens. Those are clear signs that the air quality just isn't what it needs to be for them to thrive. This is your step-by-step guide to chicken coop ventilation, why it matters, how to do it right, and the gear you need to keep your flock healthy and laying. We're going to break it all down, from understanding the science behind why good airflow is crucial, to figuring out what your current coop needs. We'll talk about the best ways to get that air moving, how to adjust for those chilly winters and hot summers, and I'll even share some of my favorite products that can make a real difference. Our goal here is simple: a coop that breathes, so your chickens can too. All right, friends, let's start with the heart of it all. Why does ventilation matter so much in a chicken coop? It might seem like a simple thing, just letting air in and out, but it's truly foundational to the health and happiness of your flock. Think of it like the lungs of your coop. It needs to breathe properly to function well. When we talk about ventilation, we're really talking about a system that performs three absolutely essential jobs, day in and day out, to keep that coop environment just right for your chickens. The first big job, and it's a crucial one, is removing excess moisture. Chickens, bless their hearts, release a surprising amount of moisture into the air just by breathing. And then you add in moisture from their droppings and any spills from their water. As it all adds up, if that damp air doesn't have a way to escape, it just hangs heavy in the coop, creating a damp, uncomfortable environment. This isn't just about comfort, it's about preventing a whole host of problems that thrive in damp conditions. Next up, ventilation is key for dissipating ammonia gas. Now, ammonia comes from the breakdown of chicken waste, their droppings. It's a natural process, but in a closed-up coop, that gas can build up to really harmful levels. Ammonia is a strong irritant, and it can seriously damage your chickens' respiratory systems. If you walk into your coop and your eyes start to water, or you get that strong, pungent smell, that's a clear sign that ammonia levels are too high, and your ventilation isn't doing its job effectively. And the third essential role of good ventilation is regulating temperature and humidity. Just like our homes, a coop can get too hot, too cold, too damp, or too dry. Proper airflow helps to moderate these extremes. In the summer, it helps to carry away excess heat, keeping your chickens cooler. In the winter, while it might seem counterintuitive, it helps to remove that damp air, which can make the cold feel even more biting and lead to serious issues like frostbite. It's all about balance. So what happens when that ventilation system isn't working, or worse, isn't there at all? Well, the consequences can be pretty serious for your flock. Chickens are particularly susceptible to respiratory illnesses, and a poorly ventilated coop is a breeding ground for the bacteria and molds that cause these problems. You might notice coughing, sneezing, or watery eyes, all signs that the air quality is taking a toll on their delicate respiratory systems. It's heartbreaking to see them suffer. Then there's the issue of moisture leading to frostbite in winter. All right, now that we understand just how vital fresh air is for our feathered friends, it's time to take a good honest look at your own coop. This is where we become detectives, y'all, searching for clues about how well the air is or isn't moving through the space. So grab a flashlight, even if it's daytime, because we're going to step inside and really use our senses to assess the situation. This is all about observation and understanding what your coop is telling you. Step into your coop and ask, does it feel humid or smell like ammonia? Are the windows fogged? Are vents blocked with bedding or dust? These are your first big indicators. That feeling of humidity, like the air is thick and heavy, is a sure sign that moisture isn't escaping, and that sharp, unmistakable smell of ammonia, That's a red flag telling you that waste gases are building up. Look closely at any windows you might have. Are they fogged up with condensation? That's moisture from inside the coop hitting the cooler glass and turning back into water. It's a visual cue that the air inside is saturated. And while you're looking around, check any existing vents. Are they caked with dust or maybe even blocked by piled up bedding or cobwebs? It's easy for these openings to get obstructed over time, rendering them pretty ineffective. Now let's think about a little checklist for good airflow. First up, we need high-level ventilation. Think about where warm, moist air naturally wants to go. It rises, so having vents up high near the roofline, in the gables or under the eaves is absolutely key. This allows that stale, damp air to escape effectively, making way for fresher air to come in. Next on our checklist is the idea of opposing vents or windows. This is all about creating a cross breeze. If you have an opening on one side of the coop and another on the opposite side, it encourages air to flow through the entire space rather than just in one little area and out another. This cross ventilation is so important for thoroughly airing out the coop and preventing pockets of stagnant air from forming. It might sound obvious, but another critical point is ensuring there's nothing blocking the airflow, both inside and outside the coop. Inside, this means keeping bedding from piling up against vents and ensuring roosts or nesting boxes aren't positioned in a way that obstructs those crucial openings. Outside, make sure vegetation isn't growing over vents or that stored items aren't pushed up against the coop walls, blocking airflow. Okay, so we've looked at our coops and identified where the airflow might be falling short. Now comes the fun part, y'all. Figuring out how to ventilate properly. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of layout and ratios, ensuring we're creating a system that's effective without being drafty, especially when those colder months roll around. It's a bit of a science, but it's also an art. First, let's talk numbers, because there's a general rule of thumb that can really help guide us. Here's the math. You want 1 square foot of ventilation per 10 square feet of coop floor space. So if you have a coop that's, say, 4 feet wide by 10 feet long, that's 40 square feet of floor space. According to our rule, you'd need at least 4 square feet of total ventilation area. This gives you a good starting point. Now, where do we put these vents? This is super important, as we talked about warm, moist air, and those pesky ammonia fumes naturally rise. So your ventilation openings should always be placed high up in the coop, well above where your chickens roost at night. Think about the peak of the roof, the gables, those triangular upper parts of the walls, or high up on the walls near the eaves. This allows that undesirable air to make a clean exit. Let's take our 40 square foot coop example again. We need 4 square feet of vent area. This doesn't mean one giant 4 square foot hole. It's often better to have several smaller vents strategically placed. For instance, you could have 2 1 square foot vents on one high wall and 2 more on the opposing high wall to encourage that lovely cross ventilation we discussed. Or perhaps a ridge vent along the peak of the roof combined with soffit vents under the eaves. Let's explore some common types of ventilation you can incorporate into your coop design. First, there are passive vents. These are openings that simply allow air to move naturally without any mechanical assistance. Roof ridge vents are fantastic for this. They run along the peak of the roof and are often designed to prevent rain from getting in while letting hot, moist air escape. Gable vents, installed in the gable ends of the coop, are another excellent passive option. Then we have windows. Screened, hinged windows are a wonderful addition to any coop. Now, one of the beautiful things about nature is its rhythm, the changing seasons. And just as we adapt our homes and our wardrobes for winter cold and summer heat, we need to do the same for our chicken coops, especially when it comes to ventilation. What works perfectly on a breezy spring day might need some tweaking when the snow is flying or when the sun is beating down. It's all about understanding these seasonal needs. Let's start with winter, because this is often where folks get a little nervous about ventilation, fearing they'll make their chickens too cold. But remember, in winter, keep vents open above roosting height and never seal the coop completely. This traps moisture. That trapped moisture is your biggest enemy in the winter, even more so than the cold itself. Damp cold is far more dangerous for chickens than dry cold. So those high vents we talked about, they need to stay open at least partially, all winter long. This allows the moisture from their breath and droppings and that pesky ammonia to escape. If you seal up the coop tight as a drum, trying to keep it warm, you're actually creating a recipe for disaster: respiratory problems, frostbite from condensation, and a generally unhealthy environment. It's a common mistake, but one we can easily avoid. You'll also want to block wind with baffles but keep airflow. If you have vents that are exposed to harsh prevailing winds, you can create simple baffles, like a piece of plywood angled a short distance away from the vent opening, to break the direct force of the wind without completely blocking the airflow. This helps prevent those unwanted drafts while still allowing for that crucial air exchange. It's a delicate balance, but an important one. Another wonderful strategy for winter coop management is to use the deep litter method to create composting warmth. This involves starting with a good layer of clean bedding like pine shavings or straw in the fall and continually adding fresh layers on top throughout the winter. The bottom layers begin to compost, generating a gentle natural heat from below, which can help keep the coop a bit warmer and the chickens' feet off a cold floor. Good ventilation is still key with deep litter to manage the moisture it produces. Now let's flip to summer. When those temperatures soar, our priority shifts to maximizing airflow to help keep our flock cool and comfortable. In summer, open all windows and vents for maximum air circulation. This is the time to throw open those windows, with screens of course, and ensure all your vents are fully open to catch any available breeze. The more air movement, the better. Alright y'all, we've talked about the why and the how of chicken coop ventilation. Now I want to share some of my favorite go-to products and materials that can really help you achieve that fresh, healthy air we're aiming for. These are things I've found to be practical, effective, and a real asset in creating a well-ventilated space for the flock. Sometimes having the right gear just makes all the difference. First up, for those hot, still summer days, I really like the eco-worthy solar chicken coop fan kit. What's so great about these is that they're often designed to auto-on in sunlight, so they kick in right when you need them most, helping to tackle that stagnant summer air. And the best part? No complicated wiring is required since they run on solar power. This makes them a super easy addition to almost any coop to give that airflow a little boost. Next, let's talk about passive airflow. Adjustable gable vents, whether they're made of durable PVC or metal, are a fantastic choice. These are great for creating that essential high-level ventilation we discussed. They're relatively easy to install in the gable ends of your coop, and many are adjustable, meaning you can control the amount of airflow to some extent, which can be handy. Plus, they're built to be durable and weatherproof, standing up to the elements year after year. For letting in light and air, you just can't beat hinged coop windows with hardware cloth. These allow for wonderful cross-ventilation when you have them on opposing sides, and they bring in that lovely natural light that chickens appreciate. The key here is the hardware cloth, that sturdy, small-gauge mesh securely attached to the window frame. This keeps those pesky predators out while letting all that good air in. As a little bonus tip, you can even use Velcro to attach simple fabric curtains to the inside for a bit of extra weather blocking in winter, if needed, without sealing them completely. Now, how do you really know what's going on with the air quality in your coop? That's where a digital thermohygrometer comes in. Brands like Govee or Inkbird make some really good ones. These little gadgets allow you to track both the temperature and the humidity levels inside your coop, often remotely via an app on your phone. This data is invaluable because it tells you exactly when your airflow might need improvement, taking the guesswork out of it. And last but certainly not least is the unsung hero of Coop security and ventilation hardware cloth, 1/2 inch. I can't stress this enough, y'all. This is what you need for covering all vents and windows. Whether it's -5 degrees Celsius or 35 degrees Celsius, your chickens need clean, dry, circulating air every day of the year. It's truly one of the cornerstones of good chicken keeping, y'all. Creating that healthy breathing space for them isn't just a seasonal task, but an ongoing commitment to their well-being. From the coldest winter day to the peak of summer heat, that gentle movement of fresh air makes all the difference in keeping your flock comfortable, healthy, and productive. It's about making their little home a place where they can truly thrive. We've covered a lot today, from understanding why ventilation is so crucial to assessing your own coop and learning how to design for optimal airflow through every season. I know it can seem like a lot to take in, but breaking it down step by step makes it manageable. And to help you on your journey to a perfectly ventilated coop, we've put together a handy checklist that you can download for free. It's a great little resource to keep you on track. Like and subscribe for more chicken care tips, and drop a comment if you've ever battled foggy coops or frostbitten toes. We love hearing from you and sharing in this wonderful adventure of raising chickens. Your experiences and questions help us all learn and grow as a community of poultry enthusiasts. So until next time, keep those coops airy, those hens happy, and enjoy every moment with your flock. Hit subscribe, like, and follow us here at Urban Pet Life. Thanks for joining me today, friends.